My abusive brother, enabling parents, and a liver transplant demand, they destroyed my teenage years, but now I'm fighting back with my husband by my side. When I was a teenager, my brother assaulted me. Despite being 2 years older than him, he was bigger and stronger than me. He threatened me with hurting me, saying that no one would believe me, and he kept doing it until I had enough and told my parents about it. Sadly, he was right. My parents didn't believe me. They were really mad and punished me hard for saying those horrible things about my brother. He was always their favorite, so they couldn't believe he had done that. I tried really hard to convince them. I even showed my mother the bruises on my legs and the marks of his bites, but she refused to believe me. The moment I was able to, I ran away from home. For years, I resented them, and even hated them, my brother for the abuse, and my parents for doing nothing to help me. They only knew the truth, because one day my brother was really drunk and told my dad about it. He told him how I was his first and how much fun he got from me. They contacted me, and I believed they would apologize, offer me help, or even make my brother face the consequences of what he did, but no. My mother's idea was that everyone must admit we all do wrong, we all made mistakes, and forgive each other for everything so we could keep that in the past and become a happy and united family again. I left them and never talked to them again. That was the moment I decided they were not my family anymore. Now, in the present, after several years, lots of struggles, and a long time in therapy, I'm finally having a happy life. I'm married to a wonderful man and aim to someday start a family with him. Until recently, my mother found me. My father is sick, his liver is failing, and he needs a new one. My mother knows that my blood type is the same as my father's, so she reached out to me to make me test so I could donate my liver to him. I told her no. I just can't say no to him or to any of them. She said that I owe him at least that I was being an ungrateful daughter, that he is my father, and that's the least I can do for the family, that I have no right to be so spiteful for a silly teenage mistake, and I was killing him for saying no. I tried to stay strong until one day my brother contacted my husband. Besides telling him about my father's situation and how I said no, he told him lots of awful things and lies about me, saying how I used to be an easy one, a liar, and that I offered myself to everyone. He even lied about how I took advantage of him, and even mentioned details of my body that would be impossible to know in a normal situation. He pointed to me as the worst scumbag that ever lived. My husband didn't know anything about my past. I only told him that my family was abusive, but I never told him everything. He didn't believe him, but he wanted to know the truth, and asked me for my version. I broke down and cried like never before, while I told him everything. He hugged me all the time, making me feel protected. My mother and brother are still harassing me, trying to guilt me until I agree to do the tests. They even demanded that I apologize to them. My husband has helped me a lot with them, keeping them away. I feel like I'm back in my teenage years, feeling so scared, weak, and vulnerable. I believed I had overcome that part of my life, but I see I haven't. Update: I want to thank all of you. These last few days have been terrifying, lots of things happened, and I don't know where to start. I felt weak and defenseless, and I was about to break multiple times, but all your support helped a lot. It helped me to comprehend that I'm not the monster here, that they had no right to anything from me, that people were telling me almost every day that they were the evil ones, and that the support of my husband helped me stay strong. I don't know how to say thank you enough to all of you. After reading your comments, I tried to take all your advice. I asked to talk with them to get information and maybe some recordings, and my husband stayed by my side all the time, something that my mother hated, saying multiple times that he had nothing to do there, that this was an only family issue, that she doesn't recognize him as my husband because we never married at their community's church. But I told them he is with me even if they don't like it. They weren't lying. My dad is dying and is way worse than I thought. He needs my liver ASAP, and apparently I was their last option. They believed that I would bend and do anything they ordered the moment they contacted me, just as I used to when I was a child, but not anymore. As some suggested, I started to record every conversation with my phone. I tried to make them admit about the abuse and their role in it because, as some told me to, I investigated, and what my brother did to me does not prescribe, but it was meaningless. Mom just kept saying that never happened, that all was lies, that I'm insane and only wanted to hurt the family. I even told my dad that I would take the test if they helped me to testify or sign a document saying what my brother did to me. But again, it was useless. Mom kept saying that never happened and I was lying. And Dad, he acted like I insulted him, saying things like how I dare to try to extort them with something like that I should be ashamed for everything I did to them, and that I should be the one kneeling in front of them begging for their forgiveness and offering everything I had to save his life. After everything that happened, even in that situation, they still believe I'm the problematic child they always claimed I was, that they still have authority over me, and that I owe them this. I was done after that. I told them I'm not doing that they have no right to ask me anything, and that I don't consider them my parents since they enabled my brother to abuse me. My husband and I left them. But all the way to the car, my mother followed us, yelling at me for killing my own father. She even quoted the Bible, saying that I should obey my father and mother, but it looks like I wanted to add another sin to my list. Since then, the harassment has become worse. I'm getting called every day, lots of awful texts are calling me selfish and calling me a murderer. I tried my best to keep and look strong, but I'd been breaking down in tears every day in the shower, and it still hurts. We tried for a restriction order, but it's going to be stupidly slow as they don't believe I'm at immediate risk and because it's December, and people don't do much on these days. But my breaking point arrived 2 days ago when my mother called again. I take all the calls and record them to try to have something that helps me in case she says something or admits what my brother did. But this time, she went right to hurt me. She always knew how to hurt me, what buttons to press, and she told me lots of awful things. Like how they told everyone in their community that I ran away because I was an addict and became a prostitute, that I was a shame, that I would burn in hell for killing my father, for lying, and turning my back on the family. She told me how I was broken merchandise, that no one would ever really love me for not being pure, that man, that's how she calls my husband, would use me, get bored, and leave me as the trash I am, and that every man would do the same. She kept on it for 30 minutes. I tried to reply at the beginning, make her say something, and make her commit a mistake. But at some point, it was too much. I couldn't stand it anymore, and broke. My husband found me on the floor, I was a crying mess, shaking. I tried to be strong to face them, to maybe find some justice for what he did, but I couldn't take it anymore. I'm not that strong. He hugged me while I cried. I begged him to never leave, to love me, and to take me away from there. I didn't want to know anything about them. He let me cry and supported me until I fell asleep. I don't know how he did it, but I woke up in bed. It was a.m. when I woke up, and he was still awake, taking care of me. I told him that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't stand against this, the transplant, trying to make my brother pay. I was done, and I just wanted to escape. He told me we would do anything I wanted, as long as I was safe and happy. Yesterday, he came to me and asked me if I really meant what I said about an escape. I told him yes. I wanted to just get out, turn off my phone, and not think about any of this. So I was impatient for our trip. Every year, we stay with his family for Christmas and the New Year. His family is amazing, and those days are super fun. Well, he said that we could have little vacation before our vacations. He said that after a little research, he got us a trip to Las Vegas and Disney. He got everything ready and only needed to confirm, so he was asking me if I really wanted to get out. I was livid. I freaking love Disney and have always wanted to go to Disneyland. I wanted to say yes, but how are we going to pay for it? We are not poor and have some savings, but everything he was offering me sounds really expensive. To put you in context, my husband loves video games, and besides our own savings, he has been saving to buy a complete gaming setup. He wanted to buy it for his birthday, but he told me that after he saw me and how I was, he needed to do something, so he decided to take that money and use it. This is one of the most beautiful things he has done for me. I cried and hugged him. So now we are going to the USA. I'm aware this is not a solution, and these monsters will still be there when I return. But with this, I'm getting away from them to have peace and fun and to be surrounded by people who love and care about me. To me, that is a win. I notified the hospital that I'm being prepared for the transplant and that I don't want to do it now, no matter what. I'm not giving him anything. I sent a final text to my mother saying I will never do it, to stop harassing me and never try to talk to me again, and that I will go to the police and do everything I can to put my brother in jail. I don't want any of them in my life again. I blocked my mother's number and every unknown number that they had used these days. I'm going full contact again. It's going to be hard, long, and painful, but I have my husband's support and all of you beautiful Reddit people. Again, thank you and happy holidays to everyone.